Formal session, February 4th, 2016. It's 10:01 a.m. We're in room 32 of the courthouse. Welcome, everybody. Glad that you're here. At this point, we'll have a flag salute. Desiree, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we set aside for invocation. And Commissioner Springer?
Thank you. Good morning once again. Good to see some faces in the audience I haven't seen for a while. And glad to see that you're doing well and enjoy having you here. At this time, I get to introduce a lady that I've known for a number of years from the Willamina area. And you know, in your life, you need more than one mother. All you ladies know that. You need multiple mothers to kind of keep you, in tune and straighten you out. I have several, and this happens to be one of mine. And I may get a call just out of the blue somewhere. And she goes, I've been thinking about you and just making sure you're doing good and give me pieces of advice and all the great stuff. And we have a lot of fun with that. But anyhow, I would like to introduce Carol Lux from Willamina. If you'd come and do invocation for us, I'd appreciate it. Yeah. Go ahead and stand up. Oh, you are. Never mind.
Father, I come to you, and I think what a privilege to come before you. Father, I would ask that you would be here today and that you would be with these commissioners and everyone else represented here, Lord, as they go about trying to do the work that is set out for this county to make this a better place to live. Father, I would ask for wisdom for them. I would ask for revelation, and I would ask for discernment, that as each and every problem is given to them today, that they will have discernment to know how to deal with it in the proper and right manner. Father, I would just ask that you would bless them and bless each person that is here, Lord, and I thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Just wanted to introduce everybody who's here at the proceedings. Dave Adams from KLYC has been kind enough to tape our proceedings, and they're on klYC.us. They're archived there for those who don't get to watch them live streaming. Lucy Flores-Mendez is our executive secretary. Laura Schaubold is our administrator. Chuck Vesper, deputy administrator. And our commissioners, Primazich Starrett Springer from County Counsel's Office, Todd Sadlow, and Christian Burnish. And we have from our planning department, Mike Brandt and Ken Friday. So thank you all for being here today. At this point, we have public comment, and that is a 30-minute time period that is reserved for comment on any topic other than quasi-judicial land use matters or another topic scheduled for public hearing. Unless extended by the chair or the majority of the board, the public comment will be limited to 3 minutes per person. Joining us this morning is Mr. Joseph Gall. Would you please step up to the table and give us your name and your address for the record, please?
May I sit down?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Joseph Gall. I live at 1156 Southwest Westvale Street, McMinnville. And I did not come prepared this morning with a written statement. I came to, I am greatly disturbed with what is happening, and I would like to have the time necessary to address the issue. Burns, Oregon, Malheur, and all of the above. It is disgusting, and I can't find the adjectives necessary to describe what has happened to Robert Lavoie Finicum over there in about, well, some 20 miles north of Burns, when they were on their way to John Day for a meeting with the residents of Grant County. And the FBI and the Oregon State Police set up a roadblock at a crucial point in that travel that was blinded for cell phone communications. And the events that took place at that roadblock is disturbing, and it should be disturbing for every American in this room and across the country. They murdered, I'm saying they, the Oregon State Police and the FBI, murdered Robert Lavoie Finicum. And that is apparent if you watch the videos released by the FBI and the comments that various people have made. It's so disturbing. I can't. I'm at a side of myself for what happened because the people at Burns were operating under constitutional authority. And the government is destroying our Constitution just about every which way you can, or they can. And I have a handout here I prepared that I would like to present to the board to back up what I've just said, that the people there at Burns did in fact operate under constitutional authority. And may I approach her?
Madam Chair, time.
Thank you, Mr. Gall.
The Constitution of Oregon, the 2015 version. I'm nervous. I always am when I'm asked or compel myself to appear in a public forum and speak. I'm just not comfortable doing it. But I felt this issue was so important that everybody in this audience should be outraged that this ever happened. Now, the constitutional authority for them to be there is contained in the Constitution of Oregon 2015 version, Article 1, Bill of Rights, Section 1. And it states, natural rights inherent in people. We declare that all men, when they form a social compact, are equal in right, that all power is inherent in the people, and all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their peace, safety, and happiness. And they have at all times a right to alter, reform, or abolish the government in such manner as they may think proper. Now, keep in mind that this is Article 1, of the Bill of Rights in the Oregon Constitution, and they retained the power of the people in accordance with the Constitution, Bill of Rights, Article 10.
Mr. Gall, thank you. We have the comments here, and we'll read it, but we are over the 3 minutes, so we're going to have to wrap up.
Well, can I continue and just say what really disturbs me, and that is the shooting at the blockade. They shot Robert Lavoie Finicum 9 times. 3 times it was reported by a witness while he was on the ground after he'd been shot in the back by someone. Anyway, well, you want to cut me off? Thank you.
Well, no, sir, but we've gone over the over 4 minutes, so unfortunately we're going to have to, we'll take your comments, and I appreciate your coming, and I appreciate your being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we have another, well, now this is, okay. Jennifer Redmond Noble.
Hi. My name is Jennifer Redmond Noble, and I live at 13500 Southwest Peavine Road. And for the record, I'm a little concerned about what happened in Burns also. But I am here to talk about the SWAC appointments. And I am a little concerned about the appointment of Joe Cook. He did serve I'm on the SWAC committee, have been on there for quite a few years now. He did serve as the recology person on SWAC. And I believe he still is possibly, maybe not an employee, but is receiving compensation from possibly recology and waste management. And we already have two industry people on our board. And also Kathy Eiler is an employee of Oregon Stationers, which I believe is possibly owned by the Cooks. And she is on SWAC. And Steve Farley, who's being reappointed, is an employee of Gormley Plumbing. I feel like I was told at the last SWAC meeting that we really want to have people from many different viewpoints around the county. And I feel like when I'm looking at this list, that makes 5 people who have fairly direct ties to our haulers and our landfillers. And that leaves just John Arend and myself who do not. And I don't feel like that's really a committee. I mean, if you guys are asking us to actually look at things and submit to you, because we don't make rules, we just submit things to the commissioners, of course. And I don't feel like that's a very open-ended committee at this point. I feel like we really could find other people who don't have a hand in the garbage business to probably put on this committee if you actually want conversation and people to actually have different viewpoints and talk. Otherwise, there's no use even having a solid waste advisory committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You could have more discussion about this when you discuss the item.
Right.
Yes, we can do that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Jennifer.
Thank you.
All right, at this point, we'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Passes unanimously. Old business, we have none. Other business, we have consideration of approval of position of authority in the Department of Community Justice for a new part-time permanent community services work crew supervisor. And consideration of approval of the following actions for the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. And that is to appoint a...
Oh, that's 2 separate pieces.
2 separate issues.
We got to start with number 1.
All right, is there any further discussion on, we have a motion to approve item D1?
I would move that we approve D1.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, that's a position, the work crew is taking on a new contract with the Yamhill Carlton School District to assist them in their maintenance work, and thus we need a supervisor for those people.
Speak up, please. You can't find a microphone.
I'm sorry. I will speak up. Okay. I'm sorry. No, this position is necessary because of a new contract that was entered into with the Yamhill Carlton School District to provide some assistance with the maintenance out there. So we'll be using work crew individuals on a compensation basis. And we are taking a work crew supervisor from the fairgrounds, so we will be replacing that person. But there is some discussion still taking place as to how that move is going to take place. But I would certainly approve the appointment of a new person.
Any further discussion? Motion to approve item D1?
Aye.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Passes unanimously. Item D2 is the consideration of approval of the 3 actions to the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, all to serve a 3-year term to expire February 4th, 2019, to appoint Joe Cook, to reappoint Stephen Farley, and to reappoint John Arend. Motion to approve item D2.
I would so move.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to kind of drill down a little bit on the comments that were made earlier. My understanding, and maybe incorrectly, was Joe Cook no longer had any ties to the commercial end of the garbage business. Am I incorrect in that?
I think that's what Sherry mentioned on Tuesday, but
In our briefing in the informal session.
Yeah, you know, what I was going to suggest after listening to Jennifer is why don't I have Sherry check into that for you and give you some real facts, because I'm not sure. I don't know.
Sure.
Right.
I don't know what his status is for employment or contract or anything like that.
Well, we did have a briefing on Tuesday about it, and it seemed like, Joe's been around for a long time and had a lot of connections, but my impression was there were no longer any connection.
Yeah, that's what
and
Sherry told me as well. but
Okay,
I don't
maybe
know.
we ought to double back on that. And then getting some more applicants would be awesome. If you have other people in mind. The only thing that I would kind of warn against a little bit is how far do you have to be removed from somebody that that is part of the landfill.
Well, I think an employee, and you've got an employee-boss relationship, even if it's a couple tiers down, I think you're still.
Well, but if Joe has no more contact there, and I understand what you're saying, but at some point, everybody knows there is 6 degrees of separation. I mean, everybody knows everybody at some point. I'm just saying we've got to be a little cautious of that.
Yeah, but I think we're being cautious completely on the wrong side. I mean, I'm not on the wrong side, but on the
Point
left
of
side.
order, Commissioner Stara.
Yeah, this is something that we can pull from the agenda
Okay.
at this point.
Well, now there's a motion on the floor.
All right, we have a motion to approve item D2.
Call for the question.
We have a motion to approve item D2. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
So at this point, we'll remove item D2. We'll have further discussion with Sherry and try to vet this a little bit more so we can get back to you and at least have clarity on some of these connections if that's necessary. Okay. All right. Item D3, consideration of approval of the submittal of a letter to Governor Kate Brown in opposition of Senate Bill 1532 to raise the minimum wage. I'd like to read the letter before we have a motion. That's okay. This is a letter for testimony for Senate Bill 1532. Dear Governor Brown, we're writing to you to express our concerns over the minimum wage proposals being considered by the Oregon State Legislature. In our review of the information available to us, we believe the various proposals being considered are financially irresponsible, and we also believe they could violate Article 11, Section 15 of the Constitution of the State of Oregon. Our initial analysis is that the cost statewide to local government is in the range of $450 to $500 million a year. Article 11, Section 15 of the Oregon Constitution prohibits unfunded mandates on local government. We've not heard of any conversations addressing the fiscal impacts of the governor's proposal on state and local government, or any discussion on how to avoid a potential violation of Article 11, Section 15 of the Constitution, which you took an oath to uphold. Additionally, the McMinnville Chamber opposes the proposed legislation, Senate Bill 1532, Senate Bill 1594, and House Bill 4054, to raise the minimum wage. All businesses should have the autonomy to pay their workforce at the level they deem economically sustainable. We believe mandated wage increases outside of what is already in place in Oregon will hurt the economic sustainability of our local business climate, do a disservice to our most vulnerable workforce participants, and will not achieve the desired outcomes that the authors and supporters wish to achieve. Based on both the state constitution, the lack of financial resources to pay for a minimum wage increase, we request that you forego taking action on a minimum wage package in the upcoming 2016 session. Any further discussion?
I would move that we do send this letter in opposition to these bills.
All right, we have a motion to approve item D3, consideration of approval of the letter regarding Senate Bill 1532. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the public hearing, SDR-16-14/FP-03-14, to reopen the record on remand of the Board Order 15-115, Riverbend Landfill Site Design Approval for receipt of written argument and evidence only. I will open the hearing on this matter. First, I will call for any abstentions from any board members. Does any board member wish to abstain voting on this matter? No? Next, I will ask if any board member wishes to place on the record any ex parte contacts, which would be substantive contacts between a board member and an applicant or opponents regarding this issue in the remand, and issues that are before the board on this remand. No casual comments or contact, but substantive conversations like this is how you should vote or this is why you should vote this way that someone else might want to rebut. Is there any?
Only what I read on the front page of the News Register this weekend telling me not to vote in favor of expansion. That would be my only ex parte.
No ex parte.
None.
All right. So we'll first hear from Todd Sadlow from the County Counsel's Office. Todd?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a remand hearing that has been convened to formally accept testimony and evidence on remand from the Land Use Board of Appeals on this case as stated in the notice. Mike Brandt and Ken Friday are here to accept from you for delivery to the board any testimony or evidence you have addressing the notice remand items or any objections that you have. And this is the time to submit your written evidence and argument. If there might be a question whether any written evidence or argument that you are submitting is within the scope of the notice, you should submit it anyway. Just be aware that it may be rejected and not included in the record of this matter. And written means in writing, no videos or physical objects. Is there anybody here who wishes to submit written evidence or argument and has not done so yet? If you wish to and you have not, please deliver it to Mr. Friday or Mr. Brandt.
Counsel Jeff Kleinman, for the record, I have an objection to one thing that you
Submit it in
stated.
writing then, please.
We have submitted 2 DVDs. There was no indication that would be forbidden. That is new evidence.
It's not written, but we'll rule on that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
To that. Thank you.
Nothing more than in writing?
Anyone have anything more?
Thank you.
Seeing that all written evidence and argument that is going to be submitted this morning has been submitted, I would entertain a motion regarding how to proceed.
I move that during the next week and ending at the close of business on February 11th, 2016, the record remain open for submittal of written rebuttal only to the County Department of Planning and Development. I further move that we reconvene in formal session on February 18th, 2016 in this room 32 at 10 a.m. for deliberation on this matter.
And I would clarify that 5 o'clock is the close of business on February 11th, 5 o'clock p.m.
Thank you. With that amendment.
All right, we have a motion before the board to, at the end of close of business on February 11th, and the record remain open for written submittal only to the county.
Of rebuttal.
Rebuttal to the County Department of Planning and Development. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
And is that include, that's in, the motion also included a set over for deliberation on the 18th of February, just to make that clear.
Correct.
Right, in room 32.
It's in the motion.
It's in the motion. Okay. Ken?
And just to note that the planning department is located at 525 Northeast 4th Street, McMinnville, and we can also accept written rebuttal through email to our office by sending it to fridayk@co.yamhill.or.us, and that again is FridayK, FRIDAYK, @co.yamhill.or.us.
Righty. Okay. At this time, we will close formal session. We'll open for executive session.
No,
I need to close the public hearing?
It's remaining open for submittal of written rebuttal until
Until
the
next
next
week.
Thursday
Close the hearing
at
today.
5
Keep it
p.m.
open. All right.
Okay. So at this time, we are going to close the formal session,
Are we recessing?
Recessing.
recessing and for executive session.
Correct. And before we do that, Madam Chair, I need to read the following. The Yamhill County Board of Commissioners will now meet in executive session for the purpose of conducting deliberations with persons designated by the governing body
Madam
to carry
Chair.
on labor negotiations. Well, we can wait.
Wait.
Take the conversations out.
Can you announce that we're still having the meeting?
We're still having a meeting. This is going to be an executive session.
Please take your conversations outside the room, please. We are still in session. We are recessing the formal session. You need to read your statement.
All right, Madam Chair, I'll start the statement again. The Yamhill County Board of Commissioners will now meet in executive session for the purpose of conducting deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to carry on labor negotiations. Oregon law allows the Yamhill County Board of Commissioners to meet in executive session to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to carry on labor negotiations pursuant to ORS 192.6602D. In addition, the media may be excluded from such a session pursuant to ORS 192.6604. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. No decisions will be made in executive session. At the end of the executive session, we'll return to open session and welcome the audience back into the room.
And Commissioners, I think we had some discussion about